Takže cenu primátora mesta Piešťany získava rumunsko-anglicko-maďarský film Katalin Varga, režiséra Petra Stricklanda.
Dobrý večer, ďakujeme pekne. Prepáčte, hovorím trošku slovensky. Thank you very much. And what's nice about this is that we shot this film when the first Cinematik began, exactly the same time. So this film is as old as Cinematik, but I think Cinematik is a little bit prettier than my film, so yeah, thank you. In 1989, I was 16 years old, living in Reading, and it was very simple in a way. It was very clear that I wanted to make films. It's one of the few things that I was good at. In a way, I wish I didn't have this desire, because life would have been so much easier in a way. But that was it, really. There was I mean, I guess like most kids, I enjoyed watching films, but somehow I became too obsessive, and you kind of imagine your own films, and then you realize after a while, well, hang on a minute, I can actually do this all my life, and then you realize how difficult it is. I definitely read books about how films work. I think it is essential just to know the very, very basic elements of making a film, and I wanted to go to film school, but that never happened. In terms of technique, I think when I was younger, definitely you want to be like Godard or whatever. You want to, which is a joke, because Godard wanted to be original, and if you want to be like Godard, you're not being original. But there was so much, I think, internal pressure, being young, to do something completely out there in a sense and original. But then it all depends on the story. I mean, the technique always has to serve the story, and there's no point to do something completely wild just for the sake of doing it. So I think perhaps the blessing of being a little bit older, being 36, is to just not be so worried about impressing people, and just to hold back. And I think part of the skill of being a filmmaker is to know what not to do, not always trying different things. I mean, I think it all depends on the atmosphere of the story, and it's always about this, to serve the characters, to serve the atmosphere. I hope that I didn't explain that very well, but anyway. It was always, nothing has changed since '89. It's always been the same, whether it's what we call amateur or what we call professional. There's no difference for me. It's the same. There's no demarcation between a hobby and professional. It's just what I love doing. And I think if you stop if I fall out of love with this, then that's the time to stop. And that's why I respect amateurs more than professionals sometimes, because the word professional to me, it means something cold and for money. Okay, we need money to live, of course, but I think the amateur spirit is really valid. I'd been trying since 1997, so after my first, how do we say, official short film. I wrote a feature film script, but there was just no way I could finance this myself, and I was trying for many years to get funding, and nothing happened. So I think it was a case of being financially ready, that I inherited this money from my uncle. It wasn't so much money, but I guess you become brainwashed by the industry, by the media, that tell you you need so many hundreds of thousands of euros to make a film. But then you see what they spend this money on, and you think, well, hang on a minute, okay, if you're going to have limousines or taxis for the actors, and they're going to bring their pet dogs and pet hamsters, then of course it becomes very expensive. But we could still make a film and still pay people and do it on a very low budget. So a lot of this was pragmatic. It wasn't about ideas, it was just about practicalities, how to physically get something made. I learned to be very careful in future, because this was a pain in the ass, this film. 5 years. I just learned to be more careful. Well, I think it's even if you're careful, filmmaking in theory is actually very logical and straightforward. It's a whole process, and if you follow those steps, you get the result, and it's actually very enjoyable. I love the work, but the problem with filmmaking is people. The egos, the greed, the unreliable nature of things, and just so many things can go wrong and just drive you insane. The work is great. I mean, I love the work. That's no problem. The hardest thing about filmmaking for me is not the work, it's the waiting. These empty days of just waiting for the phone to ring, waiting for an editor to have some free time to do work with you, and that can really destroy you, because you have these, you can't just get a normal job, because you know someone will call you at some point. So you're caught between two worlds, and I think many people can relate to this, who have to juggle normal jobs with film. If you're in the studio system, or if you're rich, then you don't have this fear or this whole issue. But for most people, that is the worst part. So what was strange about this film was I was very scared about the shooting. Being English and going to Romania, so it's not my country, it's not my language. I'm the only English person there. We're in the middle of nowhere, and I was expecting so many disasters to happen. And the whole irony is that the shooting was great. It was actually very smooth, and we were very optimistic afterwards, and it's very quick. And I don't know how that happened. Maybe because if you're shooting in the forests, nobody can go back to their wife or to the hairdresser or whatever. You're just sorry. Speaking of the phone ringing. Oh my god, it's 2 phones. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Wait. Hi, 1 second. Sorry. Hi, hello? Yeah, 1 second. Hang on. It's Tomasz on the other line. 1 second. Sorry. I'll call you back, okay? Hi, Tomasz.